But perfect. Let's get ready to hop into another one, shall we? And what do we wish to do? I guess one thing I can do once again here is bring up on the other monitor which gods we have left. And if we want to do one of our usual, like a couple of these gods we have very much branded in a specific way, by which I mean Ashen'Zari. I really like Knolls of Ashen'Zari, so I'm probably going to keep pushing for that on that side. Otherwise though, like Ignis is pretty wide open for any kind of character we would want to play. Could go with some kind of caster, but I think not having any kind of replenishment for magic gets a little bit rough. Gargoyle Earth Elemental might have the defenses to kind of slug it out in a bit of a brawl. Because generally, or at least previously in this series, when we've been trying to do an Ignis win, I feel like we have leaned towards melee fighters. Specifically, I think largely we were playing like Minotaurs because they're just pretty solid all-rounders and don't really need the assistance of a god to make it through a 3-rune run. So that fits well in that capacity. But could just try like another Sip Muna run, or could actually do a ranged character once again here. Go back to the tried and true ranger, and likely would aim for one of the 2 remaining good gods, because Zin and Ellie are both currently on the list here to still be helped. Same with Fedas, and Fedas is actually pretty dang solid for a ranged character. So what do we want to do for that? Barachi? I mean, I put my mouse over it, and that was kind of thinking of going that direction because Formicid and Barachi are my favorite 2 types of ranger characters. Definitely lean towards Formicid, but we recently, semi-recently, got a Formicid win. So let's mix things up a bit, shall we? And Hunter is not a suggested background for Barachi. That's surprising to me. But for why? Because the extra sight range is huge for any ranged character, or ranged type of background, of course. And being able to reposition with the leap, just to keep, you know, pinging them with pins and needles from afar, generally works out pretty dang well for us. So let's try that out here. And the part that I always kind of forget about. Have to come up with some kind of name, and let us just do a little bit of a cheat code here. This works very well actually with any kind of fantasy world. You know, if you're making a D&D character and you want some kind of name, oftentimes I'll just start looking up Latin translation of words, because you end up with something that's kind of interesting sounding that has some good meaning behind it because of that translation. In this case, frog. And it's that easy. Okie dokie. Well, let's just get the usual little bits and bobs configurations out of the way early on here, including, of course, dumping that morgue file just in case any of you lovely folks are playing along at home, want to see how you fare. In our lovely dungeon here, so let us throw that up on screen, and with that we are good to go. And I guess we'll see who we end up worshipping. I wouldn't actually mind going with like Luganu if we get lucky enough to have access to them early, but otherwise it will likely be, I mean, Fedas I think will be our go-to. Zin and Ellie I both kind of associate again with like more melee centric characters. There's no necessarily big reason for that. I mean, a little bit with Zin, because I think Zin, it's nice to have the chance affecting enemies that are near you. But let's check out the altar here. Yured, Quaz, and Oka. Unfortunately, that is a non-starter for our worship here today, but let's not worry too much about that and just keep on keeping on. With Barachi, I do need to do my very best to try and remember that we're slow moving. It's actually a secret strategy to train my brain to be a little bit better at recognizing those things, because as we were just talking about on the previous run, statue form, I will just always forget the negative effects that it has on us. And so it's nice to play a character like this where that effect will be with us the entirety of the game, and kind of it helps to ensure a certain level of caution, I guess, a certain level of cognizance at the very least. But hey, we'll see how it all shakes out. Hey, my ribbon worm friend. And not too shabby. In the first couple floors of the dungeon, nothing too outside of the ordinary here. No uniques. Which is a good thing overall for sure, but also frightening because even though the previously encountered enemies have no bearing on what will show up next, that's not how random numbers work, I still, like all humans, have a little bit of an annoying mental block when it comes to accurately representing, you know, probabilities, chance, all that good stuff. Let's get that hop quivered though. Hop, skip, and a jump. Could go with Chei statue here. Would kind of imply some level of hybridization, some level of spell casting potentially making its way into the mix. Well, I guess early on here we're gonna learn what everything does. A potion of degeneration is not what I was looking for. Scroll of butterfly, I guess technically keeps us alive slightly longer. So I should, by all accounts, try this out. I actually kind of want all of you, though, to go around. I need Terrence here, but I need Terrence here with some room for me to get some free shots in. One more? Excuse me? One. I guess that is two. I can't count squares, so... Whoops. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Hop, skip, and a jump, maybe? Well, let's just dig our heels in, and whatever happens, happens. I guess I could also start chugging random potions as well. That always works. Berserk Rage. So, fortunately, we did carry around this melee weapon. Otherwise, that would have been an immediate death sentence, essentially. But not too shabby, I guess. Did get Curing ID'd. Sure, doing so removed the one potion of that we had in our supply, but still nice to have that out of the way early on in the run. Especially, I was about to say, if we can manage to resupply or restock those supplies, rather, then maybe, just maybe, that will be the keys to the kingdom here. Oh my. As is unfortunately becoming a bit more regular these days, I was hit by a very sun wave fatigue about an hour or so before I started streaming today. I was hoping though that it would not have too much of an impact. Hello? Yeah, shouted for some attention to no avail. But that's looking a little bit... I don't know if better is the right word. It's looking different though. That much I think we can all agree on. And having cleared out the Orc Priest, I think the rest of these Sons of Guns should fall fairly easily. Beautiful. Now, if I could just find the Economical Temple, please and thank you. Game, if you could be so inclined. For one temple, please. To stay. Then that would be lovely. I guess was just on 3, so never mind. I'm being greedy. Look at me. Being unreasonable. Oh, of the sun here. But now that we're on D4. Game. If you could be so kind as to just fulfill my every wish and desire and make life easy breezy and beautiful for us here, that would be fantastic. McLeb, no thank you, sir. I think McLeb we actually did finally get the win with. Took quite a long time, or quite a few runs I should say, just because before there was the Chaos Knight palette cleanser, the Djinn of McLeb kind of filled that spot as my go-to when I didn't know how to start off a run. But unfortunately, not looking like any of the altars we would prefer or the temple here on level 4. Yikes, yikes. Yikes? Hear the hiss of flowing sand, you say? Well, let's go through our ID scrolls here. At least get a couple more of these things sorted out for the future. Do have a scroll of revelation, but I don't think will actually be worth using here. Well, and boy howdy am I glad I didn't. So would you look at that? There's the ossuary I was wanting. And yeah, I guess we just go straight in. How could it possibly go wrong? And then yes, we'll have to make the decision fairly shortly here. I mean, ideally the game actually forces the decision for us and we don't need to do anything of the sort. Right, I kind of forget about Burial Acolytes. Hello, my friend. Are you that scary on your own? Not too bad. Funeral Dirge. Just fix undead enemies, which I guess the mummy is one, so that was a bit of a roller coaster, but turns out I was still concerned. Still kind of am. Who knows what else this zone has in store for us. But overall, seems to largely just be a large chunk of experience, which I can never really complain about. And not too shabby. Now if I could just find stairwell up and out of here, that would be fantastic. I'm gonna, at the very least, read the teleport there. No stairs as far as we've been able to gather. Yikes. And every little offshoot that's heading the opposite direction of all these enemies that I would prefer not to deal with at the moment is immediately revealing itself as a dead end. So, not ideal. But it is what it is. And let's head over. Ooh, find the Economical Temple. Turns out that shaft may have been one of the greatest things that ever happened to us. You know, when I was saying that I'd like the game to make the decision for me, I maybe wasn't quite accounting for a situation like this. Temple with neither Fedhas nor Chei. Do I want to pivot? Could go with Ellie. I think I'd prefer not to. I was really kind of in the headspace in the zone for Fedhas or Chei. So let's give it just a little bit longer. The game to sort things out. I guess I actually do want the bow from that Orc Warrior. Otherwise, just terrifying, and I'm not happy to be running into them. But if I could just get your bow, sir, that would be lovely. And any day now. There we go. Also, no stairwells. Upwards exist, apparently. There we go. Unexplored is never ideal for sure, but nothing we can't handle early on here. So that is not too shabby. Oh my. Altars, please and thank you. Should be more careful of nets. Nets are kind of a deal breaker when it comes to ranged characters. I guess all characters these days, just because I feel like they've ramped up the effects that it has even on like your melee Sornboard son of guns. But there we go. Level 9 already. Not too bad here. Good progress in the short while that we've had this character up and running, so I'd love to see that, of course. And nope, just 0 altars. Come to the wrong place, apparently. Eustachio, I actually would like to fight right by the stairwell. Turns out it didn't matter too much, but of course if things do start to go wrong, it leaves you with a very nice escape path from all the summons. Let's see, switching up to Ringmail doesn't slow our attack enough for it to tip over into another value, so that is fine by me. And Zin as well, hey? One more floor? Do I give it one more floor to hope for one of the gods that I want? Should just pivot. It's kind of the name of the game when it comes to DCSS. Don't get too hard stuck in your ways and your plans, and instead be adaptable. But sometimes you just have to hold on hope for a hero. And there you are. I could still look for Cheibriados. Excuse me. It's tempting. I guess it only slows down our PUD acclimation a little bit. Or not acclimation, accumulation is the word I'm looking for. So let's at least, you know, check out the rest of the floor, explore our options. You don't want to settle down before you've seen your choices in life, right?